including the names of God, despite the fact that there's a custom to go to mikveh before you write the name. And so Rav Wosner realized what the Rebbe had seen, told the scribe that he has to go back to all of his customers and refund them the money because he had done this in error, or he would have to restore the tefillin to them. If they would take it. Rav Wosner concluded, he told the father of the boy what had happened. The father of the boy got kosher, parshas kosher scrolls for the tefillin, and the boy recovered. And the Rabbi Wosner, told the chassid, the father of the boy, that it was in his child's merit that a problem that existed in the entire community, for this person was known as Yirei Shamayim with a tremendously beautiful writing. These tefillin were puzzled, this tefillin were not kosher at all. And the young man, unfortunately, he might have been a Yirei Shamayim, but he was not a Talmid Chacham, and he had superficially learned the laws of writing, but this idea that it has to be written in order apparently went over too quickly, and he really didn't realize that it meant everything, including the names of God, and that he had been writing puzzle tefillin, non-kosher tefillin, for several years. Lest you think this story is made up, the source of the story is Ben Sion Vyshetsky. Ben Sion Vyshetsky is a man of, I believe, 71, 72, lives in Kfar Chabad. He heard the story from Rav Wosner himself, because Rav Ben Sion Vyshetsky was one of those storybook students who studied Torah underneath the pressure and the thumb of the Russian communists. He kept kosher, he kept Shabbos, studied Torah with Mesiras Nefesh in Russia. And he is one of those few, one of the proud, out of all of the millions of Russian Jews who maintained his Yiddishkeit even in those bitter times. And because he was such an exemplary person, Rav Wosner agreed to tell him the details of the story. The details of the story is exactly as I've told you. The Rebbe saw what no other person saw. The Rebbe saw that this person was writing puzzle tefillin, even though all the scribes and none of the rabbis, all of the rabbis, thought that there was nothing wrong with this. Rav Wosner, in his belief in the tzaddik, went further and found it to be true. The second story I want to share with you, in a similar vein, is closer to Detroit. There is a Dr. Bolkany who lives in Toledo. I believe is an anesthesiologist, and Dr. Bolkany was up for his boards, his review boards, in order to get recertified as a doctor. And usually it's a breeze, but this time he was having anxiety attacks. Didn't know what to do, so he went to the LUBAVITCHER REBBE for dollars, told the Rebbe that he's up for review, and that he's very nervous. The Rebbe told him, check your tefillin. Now, Dr. Bolkany had just had his tefillin checked a few months earlier by a scribe, a local scribe here. The local scribe, when Dr. Bolkany brought back the tefillin, refused to open up the tefillin because he said, I just checked them. There's nothing wrong with them, and by opening them up, that could harm I did a very special job of sewing them together, and I don't want to ruin it. And I refuse to look at it. There's nothing to look at. I know that the tefillin are kosher. Dr. Balkany was undeterred. If he wasn't going to look at him, he would have a sofer in New York look at him. He sent him to a sofer in New York, and he got a call a few hours after the sofer got the tefillin. He says, yes, this is par for the course. It's not the first time the Lubavitcher Rebbe has been proven right. The tefillin's scrolls were perfect. The tefillin were perfect. The problem was that the scribe had put the scrolls in a different order, and that made the tefillin puzzle. According to Rashi, and according to the various opinions, the order of how you put the scrolls in the head tefillin makes them not kosher. The Rebbe saw what the scribe had done, and the scribe had refused to look at it. Be